This isn't just another sleep tip you'll hear and forget. This is about preparing your brain to heal itself every single night. You see, the brain doesn't shut off when we sleep. In fact, it becomes more active in very specific ways. While your body rests, your brain begins a deeply complex process. It filters through the day's experiences, organizes memories, removes toxins, and restores neural connections. Think about that for a moment. While you're lying there unconscious, your brain is working harder than a night shift crew, cleaning, organizing, repairing, and preparing you for the next day. But here's what most people don't realize, and this is critical. All of this depends on one thing: preparation. You must give the brain the environment and the materials it needs to do its job properly. And if you go to sleep without providing that support, you're not just missing a step in some wellness routine, you are actively starving the brain of its capacity to regenerate. Night after night, this neglect builds up like dust in an abandoned house. It leads to foggy mornings where you can't quite get your thoughts together, forgetfulness that makes you question yourself, and a sense of mental fatigue that no amount of coffee can fix. You might wake up feeling like you slept, but your mind feels heavy, slow, disconnected. So what is this one thing you must never forget before going to sleep? You must never go to bed without preparing the brain to heal. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that, step by step, in a way that's simple, practical, and rooted in both ancient wisdom and modern neuroscience. The concept of starving the brain. Now, when I say starving the brain, I'm not talking about physical hunger in the traditional sense. I'm not talking about the growling stomach or the lightheadedness you feel when you skip lunch. I'm talking about something more subtle and far more dangerous. It's about denying the brain the specific materials it needs to regenerate, especially during its most active repair window at night. Let me give you an analogy that makes this crystal clear. Think of your brain like a library, a vast, intricate library with millions of books. Every day, new books come in. These are your experiences, your conversations, the things you learned, the faces you saw, the emotions you felt. Now, at night, while you sleep, this library doesn't close. Instead, it becomes a hive of activity. The librarians come out, and in your brain, these are specialized cells and systems, and they start filing the new books, repairing the damaged ones, dusting the shelves, reorganizing sections that got messy during the day, and clearing out the trash. But here's the crucial part. To do all that work, the librarian needs light, tools, and energy. If you starve the system, no nutrients, no signals of safety, no preparation. Then instead of doing all this essential filing and repair work, the brain goes into emergency mode. It skips the deep work. It doesn't consolidate your memories properly. It doesn't clear out the metabolic waste that builds up during the day. Instead, it just tries to survive the night, keeping everything in a holding pattern, waiting for better conditions that never come. Let me share a real example from my own practice that illustrates this perfectly. I once treated a patient named James, a 74-year-old retired school principal. Very disciplined man, the kind of person who had a routine for everything. He came to me complaining of persistent forgetfulness. Not dementia, the tests ruled that out, but small things that were adding up and frightening him. Losing names of people he'd known for years, misplacing his keys daily, walking into a room and completely forgetting why he went there, standing in the grocery store staring at the shelves, unable to remember what he needed. His wife was worried. He was worried. He told me he felt like his mind was slipping away, and you could see the fear in his eyes. During our consultation, he mentioned something that caught my attention. He told me he had cut out all food after 6 p.m., following some popular intermittent fasting advice he'd seen on the internet. He was very proud of this discipline. He thought he was doing something good for his health, following the latest trend. But what he didn't realize was that his brain, especially in later years, was entering an 8-hour, sometimes 10-hour fast with absolutely no support. No protein, no calming nutrients, no gentle fuel, just sleep and stress. His brain was trying to do all its nightly repair work while running on empty, like asking a construction crew to rebuild a house, but not giving them any materials or tools. When I encouraged him to try a small ritual, a small, warm snack before bed, a short stretch, and some deep breathing exercises, he was skeptical at first. It seemed too simple. How could eating a small bowl of soup before bed change anything? But he trusted me enough to try. Within a few weeks, everything began to shift. His morning clarity returned. He could focus longer on his reading. He started remembering names again. His wife called me to say he seemed more present, more like his old self. The keys stopped getting lost. He could walk into a room and remember his purpose. That's what I mean by starving the brain. Not just hunger in the stomach, but hunger in the nervous system. A hunger for support, rhythm, and quiet strength. When we ignore this hunger night after night, we're not just missing out on better sleep, we're actively accelerating cognitive decline. So we're not just talking about a snack here. This is important to understand. We're talking about a signal, a clear, unmistakable message sent to the brain that says, "You are safe now. The danger has passed. It's time to stop defending and start restoring." Think about it this way. It's like turning down the lights at the end of a concert, a way of letting the brain know the show is over, the audience is left, and now comes the cleanup, the reset, the healing. The brain is incredibly responsive to signals like this, but most of us never send them. We just expect our brain to figure it out on its own. If that signal doesn't come, the brain doesn't relax. It stays guarded, scanning for threats, conserving energy instead of rebuilding and restoring. It's like a security guard who never gets told the building is secure, so he stays alert all night, never sitting down, never resting, just pacing and watching. In traditional Japanese medicine, which is part of my background and training, we believe nighttime food is instruction. But more than that, the entire ritual is a signal. The softness of the light, the slowness of the breath, the rhythm of a small routine. These are cues that speak directly to the brain's limbic system, the ancient part responsible for emotional regulation, memory, and survival instincts. Without these cues, the brain defaults to vigilance. It stays half awake, half defensive. And this is why so many of my patients tell me they wake up at 2 or 3 a.m., confused, unrested, with their mind racing. Their brain never got the signal to fully relax, so it's been on guard duty all night. The science backs this up beautifully. Modern neuroscience has confirmed what traditional medicine has known for centuries. Studies show that consistent pre-sleep rituals lower cortisol. That's your primary stress hormone. They stabilize heart rate variability, which is a key marker of nervous system health. And they boost parasympathetic activity. That's your rest and digest system. All of which create the ideal environment for memory consolidation and neurological repair. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine found that adults who maintained consistent bedtime routines had significantly better sleep quality and cognitive function compared to those with irregular sleep patterns. Another study from the University of Pennsylvania showed that even mild sleep deprivation, the kind that comes from poor sleep quality rather than short sleep duration, can lead to measurable cognitive decline in older adults within just a few weeks. Why eating at night isn't the enemy. Now, I know what many of you are thinking because I hear it in my office every single day. But, Dr. Carter, I've been told to stop eating at night. Every diet, every health guru says don't eat after 6 or 7 p.m. Won't eating before bed make me gain weight? Won't it disrupt my sleep? I'm here to tell you that this blanket advice, while well-intentioned, misses a crucial nuance, especially for people over 60. It's not about skipping food entirely. It's about choosing the right kind of food, the right amount, and the right timing. Here's what changes after 60 that most people don't understand. The brain becomes more sensitive to nutrient deprivation. Blood flow to the brain naturally slows with age. Hormones shift dramatically. Growth hormone decreases, cortisol patterns change, insulin sensitivity shifts. And most importantly, your body enters catabolism faster than it did when you were younger. Catabolism, let me explain this term because it's crucial. This is the process where your body starts breaking down tissue for energy. When you're young, your body can go longer without food before this happens. But after 60, this process accelerates. That means when you go to bed on an empty stomach, your body starts breaking down tissue, including brain tissue, for energy during those fasting hours. So what happens if you go to bed on an empty stomach, night after night? The brain says, we're out of fuel, we're in emergency mode. And instead of healing, it protects. Instead of storing memories and consolidating what you learned that day, it conserves power, like a phone going into low battery mode, where it shuts down all non-essential functions. The hippocampus, which is your memory center, is particularly vulnerable to this. It needs consistent glucose and amino acids to function properly. When these aren't available during the crucial overnight consolidation period, memory formation suffers. You wake up feeling like yesterday's experiences are already fading, like they never quite solidified in your mind. Night after night, this pattern drains your sharpness. You don't feel it immediately. That's the insidious part. It's not like you wake up one morning and suddenly can't remember anything. It's gradual. Over weeks and months, it becomes your new normal. You start thinking, well, I guess this is just what getting older feels like. But it doesn't have to be that way. The right fuel for your brain. So what kind of fuel are we talking about? What should someone over 60 eat before bed to protect their brain? This is where we get practical, and I want you to really pay attention because the details matter here. Think of it as sending a warm message to the brain. What you want is light protein, calming minerals, and gentle energy. Not a heavy meal that will sit in your stomach and disrupt sleep, but not nothing either. You're looking for that sweet spot in between. Let me give you some specific examples that I recommend to my patients, and I'll explain why each one works. First option, a small bowl of warm miso broth with tofu. Now, why is this so effective? The miso is fermented, which means it helps your gut microbiome. And we now know that gut health is directly connected to brain health through what scientists call the gut-brain axis. A healthy gut produces neurotransmitters like serotonin, which you need for good sleep. The tofu offers brain-supporting amino acids, particularly tryptophan, which is a precursor to both serotonin and melatonin. These are the chemicals your brain needs to relax and sleep deeply. And the warmth, don't underestimate the warmth, soothes the nervous system. It signals comfort and safety at a primal level. Another excellent option is a soft-boiled egg with steamed greens. The egg provides high-quality protein and choline, which is crucial for memory and cognitive function. The greens, particularly dark leafy greens like spinach or bok choy, provide magnesium, which is a natural relaxant for both muscles and nerves. Many older adults are actually deficient in magnesium without knowing it, and this deficiency can contribute to poor sleep and cognitive issues. A third option is a small piece of white fish cooked with ginger. Wild-caught salmon or cod, for example, provide omega-3 fatty acids, which are anti-inflammatory and support brain cell membrane health. The ginger aids digestion and has calming properties. It's warming without being stimulating. You could also have a small bowl of plain Greek yogurt with a drizzle of honey and some walnuts. The yogurt provides protein and probiotics. The honey offers just enough natural sugar to stabilize blood sugar through the night without causing a spike. And the walnuts? Here's something fascinating. Walnuts are one of the few plant sources that contain melatonin naturally. They also provide omega-3s and antioxidants. The key principles here are not heavy, not cold, not processed. Just clean, warm, and easy to digest. You want to avoid anything that will strain your digestive system or spike your blood sugar dramatically. This means avoiding sugars and refined carbohydrates. No cookies, no ice cream, no sugary snacks. These will cause blood sugar to spike and then crash in the middle of the night, which is often why people wake up at 3 a.m. feeling anxious or restless. Avoid cold foods straight from the refrigerator. In traditional Asian medicine, we believe cold foods require more energy to digest and can disrupt the body's natural warming and calming process that should happen before sleep. There's actually some interesting research suggesting that core body temperature regulation is crucial for sleep quality, and cold foods can interfere with this. And definitely avoid anything processed. No packaged snacks, no fast food, nothing with artificial ingredients. These confuse the body's natural rhythm and can trigger inflammatory responses that interfere with the brain's nighttime repair processes. Beyond food, the complete ritual. But here's what makes this approach truly powerful. The ritual doesn't stop with food. This is where most Western approaches fall short. They focus on one element in isolation. But the Japanese approach, which I've studied extensively and incorporated into my practice, includes what we call Shinshin Ichino, the unity of mind and body. Everything is connected. The food you eat, the light you're exposed to, the way you breathe, the thoughts you think before bed, all of these elements work together to create either an environment for healing or an environment for stress. So the ritual extends to your entire environment and your entire being. Let me walk you through each component of what I call the complete evening brain restoration ritual. First, light management. Turn off screens at least 30 minutes before sleep, and I mean all screens: television, computer, tablet, and yes, your phone. I know this is hard in our modern world. We're addicted to our devices. But the blue light emitted by these screens disrupts melatonin production and keeps the brain in daytime mode. Your brain has an internal clock called the circadian rhythm, and it's incredibly sensitive to light. Blue light, which is abundant in screens, tells your brain it's still daytime. Stay alert, don't produce melatonin yet. This pushes your entire sleep cycle later and reduces sleep quality even if you eventually fall asleep. Instead, create a soft environment. Light a candle if you like. There's something primal and calming about firelight. Or use warm, dim lighting. Open a window for fresh air if the weather permits. The slight coolness of evening air signals to your body that night is coming. Some of my patients have started using salt lamps or very dim amber lights in the evening, and they report feeling noticeably more relaxed. The key is mimicking the natural progression from daylight to dusk to darkness that our ancestors experienced for thousands of years. Second, mindful activity. Slow the rhythm of your household. Put away the day's concerns. If you live with family, this might mean having a quiet conversation rather than watching loud television. If you live alone, this might mean playing soft music or simply sitting in silence. Reading a physical book, and I emphasize physical, not on a tablet, especially something poetic, spiritual, or calming in nature, can gently prime the mind for rest. Poetry is particularly effective because its rhythm and imagery engage the brain in a gentle, non-stimulating way. Avoid thrillers, news, or anything that will activate your stress response. I have patients who read a few pages of poetry every night, or a short passage from a spiritual text, or even just a few paragraphs of something beautiful and calming. One patient reads the same book of nature essays over and over. It's become part of her ritual, and her brain now associates those words with the transition to sleep. Third, breathing practice. This might be the most powerful component of the entire ritual, and it's completely free. You don't need any equipment, any special training, or any particular physical ability. Anyone can do this. We practice what's called hara breathing in Japanese tradition. Slow, deep breaths into the belly with an exhale that's longer than the inhale. Let me give you the exact technique I teach my patients. Sit comfortably, either in a chair with your feet flat on the floor or on the edge of your bed. Place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. Now breathe in slowly through your nose for a count of 4, letting your belly expand like a balloon. Your chest should barely move. All the movement should be in your belly. Hold that breath gently for a count of 2. Then exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 6 or 7, letting your belly fall. The exhale should be longer than the inhale. This is crucial because it's the long exhale that activates your parasympathetic nervous system. Do this for just 5 minutes. That's only about 20 to 25 breaths, but the effect is profound. This simple practice can activate the parasympathetic nervous system, lowering cortisol and slowing heart rate. It reduces blood pressure. It tells every system in your body that there is no emergency, that you are safe, that it's time to rest. The message to the brain is clear and unmistakable. It is time to release the day and prepare for restoration. I've had patients who were taking sleep medication for years, and after consistently practicing this breathing technique along with the other elements of the ritual, they were able to reduce or eliminate their medication under medical supervision. The power of proper breathing is vastly underestimated in Western medicine. Fourth, gratitude practice. Now we come to what might sound like a simple or even silly component, but I assure you, it's backed by serious science. Writing a short gratitude list before bed is not just about positive thinking or feel-good philosophy. It's medicine. Take out a notebook, keep a small journal by your bedside, and write down 3 things you're grateful for from that day. They don't have to be big things. In fact, I encourage my patients to focus on small, specific moments. Maybe it was the warmth of the sun on your face during your morning walk. Maybe it was a kind word from a neighbor. Maybe it was the taste of your lunch, or a comfortable chair, or a funny moment that made you laugh. Maybe it was simply the fact that you felt no pain today, or that you could see the sunset, or that you have a warm bed to sleep in. This isn't just philosophy. A study published in the journal Applied Psychology, Health and Well-Being found that people who wrote down 3 things they were grateful for before bed slept longer and felt more rested. The sleep quality measurements showed deeper, more restorative sleep cycles. Another study from the University of California, Davis, showed that a regular gratitude practice was linked with improved sleep quality, lower blood pressure, reduced inflammation markers, and even stronger immune function. One study followed participants for 6 months and found that those who kept gratitude journals had fewer doctor visits and reported feeling healthier overall. But why does this work? What's happening in the brain? Gratitude reduces the brain's perception of threat. When you're focusing on what's good, your amygdala, that's the threat detection center, calms down. At the same time, gratitude activates areas in the prefrontal cortex that are associated with emotional regulation and calm decision-making. It also increases dopamine and serotonin, your brain's natural mood elevators and sleep promoters. Essentially, gratitude creates a chemical cascade that helps your brain let go of the day's stress, reset your emotional baseline, and restore itself more deeply. One of my patients, a 68-year-old woman who had struggled with anxiety and insomnia for decades, started keeping a gratitude journal as part of her evening ritual. She told me, "Dr. Carter, it's like I'm teaching my brain what to focus on. Instead of lying awake worrying about everything that went wrong or could go wrong, my last thoughts are about what went right. And somehow, my brain holds on to that as I fall asleep." So it's not just a feeling, it's medicine. It's neurochemistry. It's reprogramming your brain's default network to end the day in peace rather than anxiety. The power of rhythm and movement. Now, you might be wondering why I keep emphasizing rhythm and timing. Can't you just do these things whenever? Does it really matter if you eat at 9 p.m. one night and 11 p.m. the next? Does it matter if you do your breathing sometimes and skip it other times? The answer is yes. It matters tremendously. Here's why. The brain follows cycles, and those cycles are set by consistent patterns: light exposure, sound patterns, food timing, and activity rhythms. These are called Zeitgebers in chronobiology, which is the study of biological rhythms. The word literally means time givers. If you eat erratically, sleep erratically, and overstimulate your brain before bed some nights, but not others, your brain never knows what to expect. It can't anticipate. It can't prepare. It stays in a state of uncertainty, which is a form of stress. But when you eat at approximately the same time each evening, when you perform your gentle stretches at the same time, when you do your breathing practice and write your gratitude list at the same time, your body receives a powerful message. It is safe to restore. This is when we rest. This is when we heal. Your brain can literally anticipate this and begin the process even before you start. One study from Harvard Medical School found that people with consistent bedtime routines had better sleep efficiency, meaning they spent more of their time in bed actually sleeping deeply, and showed better cognitive performance the next day compared to those with irregular routines, even when both groups got the same total hours of sleep. This brings me to an often overlooked component: movement. Now, I don't mean exercise. I'm not talking about going to the gym or doing an intense workout before bed. That would be counterproductive. I'm talking about gentle, mindful movement that signals to your body that the day's work is done. Let me describe exactly what I recommend to my patients. Before you have your small evening nourishment, spend just 5 minutes doing very gentle movement. That's all it takes, 5 minutes. Here's the sequence. Start with neck rolls. Sit comfortably and slowly roll your head in a circle, first in one direction, then the other. This releases tension that accumulates in the neck and shoulders from daily activities and stress. Feel the stretch, but never force it. This is not about achieving any particular position. It's about releasing. Then, do shoulder circles. Lift your shoulders up towards your ears, roll them back, press them down, and bring them forward in a smooth circle. Do this 5 or 6 times in each direction. You're releasing the weight of the day, literally dropping the burden you've been carrying. Next, a gentle forward fold. Stand with your feet hip-width apart and slowly bend forward from your hips, letting your arms hang toward the floor. Don't worry about touching your toes. That's not the goal. Just let gravity gently stretch your spine and the backs of your legs. Let your head hang heavy. Take 3 deep breaths here. This inverted position increases blood flow to the brain momentarily, and the stretch releases the lower back. Finally, sit down either on a chair or on the floor, whatever is comfortable for you, and place your hands on your knees or in your lap. Close your eyes. Take 3 more deep belly breaths. Feel your body settling. Feel yourself arriving fully in the present moment. Why this sequence works is beautifully simple from a physiological standpoint. Gentle movement increases blood flow throughout the body and to the brain. It calms the sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response, and activates the parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest response. It physically releases muscle tension that can interfere with sleep, and it creates a clear mental boundary between the activity of the day and the rest of the evening. When you follow this gentle movement with your warm, light nourishment, the brain absorbs the nutrients like a sponge. Your digestion is better because you're relaxed. Your blood sugar stabilizes more effectively. You're giving your mind exactly what it needs to clean, store memories, and rebuild neural connections. So the sequence is absolutely crucial. Movement first, then nourishment, not the other way around. Movement prepares the stage, opens the curtain. Food is the offering, the gift to your brain. Together, they tell your brain in a language it understands perfectly. The day is done. All is well. Begin the healing. Addressing common concerns and objections. Now, I've given you a lot of information, and I know some of you are sitting there with questions or concerns. Let me address the most common ones I hear in my practice. But, Dr. Carter, I can't eat at night. It gives me heartburn or acid reflux. This is a very common concern, and it's valid. But here's what I've found. This reaction almost always means the wrong food, the wrong amount, or the wrong timing. Not that eating at night is inherently problematic. A large meal late at night will hurt you. If you eat a big dinner at 8 p.m. and then go to bed at 9 p.m., you're gonna have problems. Your body needs time to begin the digestive process before you lie down. But a warm, liquid-based, small portion, about 60 to 90 minutes before bed, that's different. That's healing. The key is choosing foods that are easy to digest and not lying down immediately after eating. The miso broth I mentioned, for example, is incredibly gentle on the digestive system. A soft-boiled egg with steamed vegetables is easy to digest. These are not heavy, greasy, or spicy foods that trigger acid reflux. If digestion is particularly weak, fermented foods like miso or a small spoon of pickled plum can actually help. These support the gut microbiome and can improve digestive function over time. The gut controls so much of your brain's chemistry through the gut-brain axis. It produces neurotransmitters. It influences inflammation. It affects mood and cognition. Won't eating before bed make me gain weight? This is probably the #1 concern I hear, especially from patients who have been following intermittent fasting protocols. Here's the truth. Weight gain comes from eating too many calories overall and from eating the wrong kinds of foods, not from the specific timing of a small, nutrient-dense snack. What we're talking about here is maybe 100 to 150 calories of high-quality, easily digestible food. This is not going to cause weight gain. In fact, I've found that many of my patients actually lose weight or maintain their weight more easily once they implement this ritual because they sleep better. And good sleep regulates the hormones that control appetite, leptin and ghrelin. When you sleep poorly, your body produces more ghrelin, which makes you hungry, and less leptin, which signals fullness. The result is that you eat more the next day, often craving sugary, high-calorie foods because your body is desperate for energy. So by improving your sleep quality with this evening ritual, you actually help regulate your weight. I'm already taking sleep medication. Will this interfere with my medication? This is an important question, and I always tell my patients, never stop or change your medication without consulting your doctor. However, this ritual is compatible with most sleep medications and may actually enhance their effectiveness. Many of my patients have found that as they consistently practice this evening ritual, they're able to work with their doctors to gradually reduce their medication dosage. Some have eliminated sleep medication entirely over time. But this should always be done under medical supervision with a careful tapering protocol. I'm too busy to do all of this every night. I understand. Modern life is demanding, but here's what I want you to consider. We're talking about maybe 20 to 30 minutes total. 5 minutes of gentle movement, 5 minutes to prepare and eat a simple snack, 5 minutes of breathing, 5 minutes of reading or quiet reflection, and 2 minutes to write down 3 things you're grateful for. That's less time than most people spend scrolling through social media or watching television before bed, and the return on this investment is enormous. Better memory, clearer thinking, deeper sleep, reduced anxiety, better mood, and potentially adding years of cognitive vitality to your life. I often tell my patients, You can't afford not to do this. Every night you skip this ritual is a night your brain doesn't get the restoration it needs. And those nights add up. What if I wake up in the middle of the night after eating? But if you're waking up in the middle of the night, it's actually often because your blood sugar is dropping too low, not because you ate something. This is especially common in older adults who skip evening snacks. When your blood sugar drops during the night, your body releases cortisol and adrenaline to raise it back up. These stress hormones wake you up. The small, balanced snack we're talking about, with protein and a little bit of natural carbohydrate, actually helps prevent this blood sugar crash and keeps you sleeping more soundly through the night. How this supports memory specifically. Now let me address what I know is at the heart of many people's concerns: memory loss. I hear it all the time in my office. Patients come in worried, sometimes frightened, saying things like, "Dr. Carter, I can't remember where I put my glasses," or "I forget names more than I used to," or "I walk into a room and have no idea why I went there." These experiences create real fear. There's a sense that something irreversible is happening, that this is the beginning of a slide into dementia or Alzheimer's, that the person they've always been is slowly slipping away. And I want to be very clear about something. These concerns are valid. Memory changes do happen as we age. But, and this is crucial, what most people experience is not the inevitable, irreversible cognitive decline they fear. Often, it's simply a malnourished brain crying out for support. Let me explain how memory actually works and why this nighttime ritual is so powerful for preserving it. Memory formation happens in stages. First, there's encoding. That's when you initially experience something and your brain captures it. Then there's consolidation. That's when your brain processes that experience and decides where and how to store it. Finally, there's retrieval. That's when you access that memory later. The consolidation phase, the one where memories are cemented and organized, happens primarily during sleep, specifically during deep sleep and REM sleep. This is when your hippocampus, which is the memory center of your brain, replays the day's experiences and transfers important information to your cortex for long-term storage. But here's the critical part that most people don't understand. This consolidation process only happens effectively when your blood sugar is stable, when your stress levels are low, and when your brain chemistry is balanced. The nighttime ritual I'm describing does exactly that. It keeps blood sugar stable through the night, so your brain has consistent energy for this intensive consolidation work. It reduces cortisol, your stress hormone, which, when elevated, actually impairs memory formation and can even damage the hippocampus over time. And it supports the production of neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA, which promote the kind of deep, restorative sleep your memory consolidation occurs. There's a study from the University of California, Berkeley, that showed that adults who slept poorly showed a 40% deficit in their ability to form new memories compared to those who slept well. Another study from Harvard Medical School demonstrated that people who were deprived of deep sleep showed impaired ability to consolidate memories, even when they got enough total hours of sleep. It's the quality, not just the quantity, that matters. But here's the exciting part. This process is reversible. When my patients implement this evening ritual consistently, they often report within just a few weeks that their memory is improving. Names come back more easily. They remember why they walked into a room. They can focus on reading and retain what they read. They feel sharper in conversations. This really reframes how we think about aging and memory. We've been conditioned to assume that memory loss is automatic, inevitable, just part of getting older. But what I see in my practice every day tells a different story. Often memory isn't failing, it's just malnourished, unsupported, and not given the environment it needs to function properly. The brain is not as fragile as we've been led to believe. but it is hungry. It is thirsty. It is rhythmic. It needs consistent support. And when we forget that, when we neglect these basic needs night after night, yes, we age faster than we should. Our memory suffers. Our cognition declines. And this is the hopeful message I want you to hold on to, when we feed the brain properly, when we move gently, when we create the right environment and give it the signals it needs, when we sleep deeply and restore fully, even at 80 or 90 years old, the mind can stay remarkably bright, clear, and sharp. I've seen it countless times. I've had patients in their 80s who reversed what they thought was inevitable decline. I've had 90-year-olds tell me they feel mentally sharper than they did in their 70s. The brain has tremendous capacity for resilience and repair when we give it what it needs. What about beverages? Let me address one more practical question. What about drinks? What should you be drinking in the evening, and what should you avoid? First, what to avoid. This is just as important as what to include. Avoid anything cold straight from the refrigerator. Cold beverages require your body to expend energy to warm them up, and they can interfere with the natural temperature regulation your body needs for good sleep. Your core body temperature actually needs to drop slightly for you to fall asleep, and cold drinks can disrupt this process. Avoid anything sugary. No sodas, no fruit juices with added sugar, no sweet drinks. These will spike your blood sugar and cause a crash later in the night, often waking you up when your blood sugar drops. Avoid alcohol. I know this disappoints some people because they feel like a glass of wine helps them relax before bed. And yes, alcohol might make you feel sleepy initially, but it severely disrupts sleep quality. It prevents you from entering deep sleep and REM sleep, the stages where memory consolidation and brain restoration happen. You might fall asleep faster, but you'll wake up feeling unrested, and your brain won't have done its repair work. Studies show that even moderate alcohol consumption before bed can reduce sleep quality by up to 39%. Avoid caffeine, and this includes more than just coffee. No black tea, no green tea, no chocolate. Caffeine has a half-life of about 5 to 6 hours, which means if you have caffeine at 4 p.m., half of it is still in your system at 10 p.m. For older adults, caffeine metabolism can be even slower. It blocks adenosine receptors in your brain. Adenosine is the chemical that makes you feel sleepy. So caffeine literally prevents your brain from receiving the signal that it's time to rest. So what should you drink? Let me give you some excellent options that actually support the brain's nighttime restoration. Chamomile tea is wonderful. It contains an antioxidant called apigenin that binds to specific receptors in your brain that promote relaxation and sleepiness. It's been used for centuries as a sleep aid, and modern research confirms its effectiveness. A study in the Journal of Advanced Nursing found that postnatal women who drank chamomile tea for 2 weeks reported better sleep quality and fewer symptoms of depression. Warm barley water is another traditional option that's gentle and soothing. Barley contains tryptophan and complex carbohydrates that help stabilize blood sugar and promote the production of serotonin. Golden milk is something I've started recommending more frequently. This is turmeric mixed with black pepper in warm almond milk or coconut milk. The turmeric contains curcumin, which is powerfully anti-inflammatory and has been shown to cross the blood-brain barrier and protect brain cells. The black pepper contains piperine, which increases the absorption of curcumin by up to 2,000%. The warm milk provides tryptophan and creates a comforting, soothing experience. Passion flower tea is another option. It increases GABA levels in the brain, which reduces anxiety and promotes calm. A study in phytotherapy research found that passion flower tea was as effective as certain anti-anxiety medications, but without the side effects. Warm water with a small amount of raw honey can also be beneficial. The honey provides just enough glucose to prevent blood sugar from dropping too low during the night, which can cause middle-of-the-night wakings. And honey contains compounds that support the production of melatonin. The key with all of these is that they should be warm, not hot, not cold, comfortably warm. The warmth itself is therapeutic. It soothes the digestive system, signals comfort to your nervous system, and helps prepare your body for the natural temperature drop that facilitates sleep. Your simple starting point, a ritual you can begin tonight. Now, I've given you a lot of information, and I understand it might feel overwhelming. You might be thinking, Dr. Carter, this sounds great, but where do I even start? How do I remember all of this? How do I make this a habit? So let me give you the simplest possible version, a ritual you can begin tonight, right now, that takes maybe 15 minutes total. Once you've done this for a week or two, and it becomes natural, you can expand it if you want. But this basic version alone will make a significant difference. Here's your simple starting ritual. Step 1. 5 minutes before your bedtime. Do your gentle movement sequence. Neck rolls. Slowly roll your head in circles, 5 times in each direction. Shoulder circles. Lift and roll your shoulders back, 5 times in each direction. Forward fold. Bend forward from your hips. Let your arms hang. Take 3 deep breaths. Then, sit down, place your hands on your knees, and take 3 more deep belly breaths. Step 2. Immediately after movement, prepare your simple evening nourishment. If you want to keep it as simple as possible, here's what I recommend. Boil water and stir in a spoon of miso paste. Add a few small cubes of soft tofu if you have them, or just have the miso broth alone. If you don't have miso, make chamomile tea and have it with a soft boiled egg or a small handful of walnuts. Sit down in a comfortable spot, not in bed, but maybe at your kitchen table or in a favorite chair. Turn off your phone or put it in another room. No television, no distractions. Just sit and sip slowly. Pay attention to the warmth, the taste, the sensation. This is a form of mindfulness, and it's signaling to your brain that you're transitioning from the activity of the day to the rest of evening. Step 3. While you're eating or right after, do your breathing practice. Place one hand on your belly. Breathe in slowly through your nose for a count of 4, letting your belly expand. Hold gently for 2 counts. Breathe out slowly through your mouth for a count of 6 or 7. Do this for just 5 minutes. That's only about 20 breaths. You can do this while you're sipping your tea or miso, or right after you finish. Step 4. Just before you get into bed, take out a small notebook. Keep it on your nightstand with a pen. Write down 3 things you're grateful for from today. Remember, they can be small. They should be specific. Not just my family, but the way my daughter laughed on the phone today, or the softness of my favorite sweater, or the fact that I felt strong on my walk this morning. Write them down, read them once silently to yourself, and then say quietly, either out loud or in your mind, I prepare my mind for clarity. I choose to rest in abundance. Then close the notebook, turn off the light, and settle into bed. That's it. That's your basic ritual. 15 minutes, maybe 20 if you move slowly. But the impact of these 15 minutes will ripple through your entire night and into the next day. I tell my patients, commit to doing this every single night for 2 weeks. Not sometimes, not when you remember, not when you feel like it. Every night for 14 consecutive nights. Mark it on a calendar. Check it off each night. 2 weeks is how long it typically takes for a new behavior to start feeling natural. And it's also about how long it takes before most people start noticing the benefits. After 2 weeks, most of my patients report they're sleeping more deeply, waking up more refreshed, thinking more clearly during the day, and remembering things better. They say things like, I didn't realize how foggy I was until the fog lifted, and once they feel that difference, they don't want to skip the ritual anymore. It becomes something they look forward to, a gift they give themselves each evening. Expanding the ritual, going deeper. Once you've established the basic ritual and it feels comfortable, you can expand it if you'd like to go deeper. This is optional, but many of my patients find that adding these elements enhances the benefits even further. Add reading. After your gratitude practice, read for 10 to 15 minutes from a physical book. Choose something calming, beautiful, or spiritually nourishing. Poetry works wonderfully. Nature writing, philosophy, spiritual texts. Avoid news, thrillers, or anything that will activate stress or strong emotions. The goal is gentle engagement of your mind in a positive direction. Add essential oils. Consider using lavender essential oil. You can put a drop on your pillow, use a diffuser, or rub a tiny amount on your temples or wrists. Lavender has been shown in multiple studies to improve sleep quality and reduce anxiety. A study in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine found that lavender aromatherapy improved sleep quality in older adults by 12% on average. Add gentle music. Some people find that soft, instrumental music enhances their evening ritual. Choose something without lyrics, something slow and peaceful. Classical music, nature sounds, or traditional Japanese or Indian instrumental music can be very effective. Keep the volume low. It should be background ambiance, not something you're actively listening to. Add a foot bath. In Japanese tradition, we often recommend warming the feet before bed. Fill a basin with comfortably warm water and soak your feet for 10 minutes while you sip your tea or miso. This draws blood flow downward, relaxes your entire body, and helps regulate your body temperature for better sleep. You can add Epsom salts for extra magnesium absorption through your skin. Add a specific meditation practice. If you're comfortable with meditation, you might add a short loving-kindness meditation or body scan. A loving-kindness meditation where you silently send good wishes to yourself and others has been shown to increase positive emotions and improve sleep. A body scan, where you mentally relax each part of your body from toes to head, can release physical tension you didn't even know you were holding. But remember, these are all optional additions. The basic ritual I outlined earlier is sufficient and powerful on its own. Don't let perfection become the enemy of action. It's better to do the simple version consistently than to do an elaborate version occasionally. The science behind why this works. Understanding the mechanisms. For those of you who are more scientifically minded and want to understand exactly why this ritual is so effective, let me explain some of the key mechanisms at work. Blood sugar regulation. When you eat a small amount of protein and healthy fat before bed, you stabilize blood sugar throughout the night. This prevents the cortisol spike that happens when blood sugar drops too low. A spike that can wake you up at 2 or 3 a.m. feeling anxious. Stable blood sugar also ensures your brain has consistent fuel for the energy-intensive work of memory consolidation and cellular repair. Cortisol reduction. The breathing exercises, gentle movement, and gratitude practice all work to reduce cortisol, your primary stress hormone. Elevated cortisol is one of the main reasons people have difficulty falling asleep and staying asleep. Chronic elevation of cortisol can actually shrink your hippocampus, your memory center, over time. By actively reducing cortisol every evening, you're protecting your brain structure. Parasympathetic activation. The long exhales in the breathing practice, the warm beverages, the gentle movement, all of these activate your parasympathetic nervous system, also called the rest and digest system. This is the opposite of your sympathetic fight or flight system. When your parasympathetic system is activated, your heart rate slows, blood pressure drops, digestion improves, and your brain shifts into repair mode. Melatonin production. By avoiding blue light and creating a dim, calm environment, you support your body's natural production of melatonin, the hormone that regulates your sleep-wake cycle. The tryptophan, in foods like tofu, eggs, and fish, is a precursor to serotonin, which then converts to melatonin. So you're supporting melatonin production both through environmental cues and through nutrition. Gut-brain axis support. The fermented foods like miso support your gut microbiome, which produces about 90% of your body's serotonin. The gut-brain axis is a bidirectional communication system. Your gut influences your brain, and your brain influences your gut. By supporting gut health, you're directly supporting brain health, mood regulation, and cognitive function. Memory consolidation enhancement. During deep sleep, your brain replays the day's experiences and transfers important information from temporary storage in the hippocampus to long-term storage in the cortex. This process requires adequate energy, stable blood sugar, low stress, low cortisol, and specific sleep stages, deep sleep and REM sleep. The ritual supports all of these conditions. Neuroplasticity support. The amino acids from the protein you consume provide the building blocks for neurotransmitters and for new neural connections. The omega-3 fatty acids from fish or walnuts support brain cell membrane health and reduce inflammation. The antioxidants from tea and herbs protect brain cells from oxidative stress. All of this supports neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to form new connections and adapt throughout life. Circadian rhythm entrainment. By performing the ritual at the same time each evening, you're entraining your circadian rhythm, teaching your internal clock when it's time to sleep. This makes falling asleep easier and improves sleep quality because your body anticipates and prepares for sleep. Understanding these mechanisms helps you see that this isn't just some woo-woo wellness trend. This is practical application of neuroscience, chronobiology, nutrition science, and psychology. Every element of the ritual has a specific, measurable effect on your brain and body. Real patient stories. Transformation through the ritual. Let me share a few more stories from my practice, because sometimes the best evidence for something isn't just the science. It's the real human experiences. There was Margaret, 81 years old, who came to me in tears. She told me she was terrified because she was forgetting important things. Appointments with her grandchildren, conversations she'd had just days before, even some childhood memories that had always been clear. She was convinced it was the beginning of Alzheimer's. After ruling out any serious medical issues and finding that she was generally healthy, I asked about her evening routine. She told me she had dinner at 5:30 p.m., then didn't eat again until breakfast. She watched television news until she went to bed around 10:30 p.m., often feeling agitated by what she'd watched. She'd lie in bed worrying about the state of the world, about her health, about being a burden to her family. I introduced her to this evening ritual. She was skeptical, but desperate enough to try. Within 1 week, she reported sleeping better. Within 3 weeks, her memory started improving noticeably. After 2 months, she came in beaming, telling me she felt like herself again. She had remembered every detail of a conversation with her daughter from the week before. She hadn't forgotten any appointments. She was reading books again and actually remembering the plots. Dr. Carter, she told me, I thought my mind was just done, that this was the beginning of the end. But I wasn't broken. I was just starving my brain every single night. Then there was Robert, 73, a retired accountant who prided himself on his sharp mind. He'd been experiencing what he called senior moments, forgetting names, losing his train of thought mid-sentence, walking into rooms and forgetting his purpose. He was also having trouble sleeping, waking up multiple times each night. He'd been following a strict intermittent fasting protocol, not eating anything after 5 p.m. and not eating breakfast until noon. He thought he was being healthy, but his brain, especially at night, was being starved of the support it needed. I convinced him to try just the miso broth and tofu before bed, along with the breathing exercises. He resisted at first, worried about breaking his fast, but after I explained the science, he agreed to a 2-week trial. The difference was remarkable. Not only did he start sleeping through the night, but his senior moments decreased dramatically. His wife noticed he was more patient, more present in conversations. He could focus on reading the complex financial news he enjoyed without his mind wandering. I was so focused on the rules of intermittent fasting, he told me, that I forgot the basic rule. You have to give your body what it needs when it needs it, and my brain needed support at night. Another patient, Winda, 69, had been taking sleep medication for 15 years. She tried to stop several times, but always experienced terrible rebound insomnia. She was sleeping, but she never felt rested, and her memory was getting progressively worse. I worked with her and her prescribing physician to gradually introduce the evening ritual while very slowly tapering her medication under medical supervision. It took 6 months, but she eventually was able to stop the medication completely. She told me that the ritual gave her something the medication never did. It gave her a sense of control and participation in her own healing. The medication just knocked me out, she explained, but the ritual prepares me. It's like I'm working with my body instead of fighting against it. And the quality of my sleep now is so much better than it ever was on medication. These stories aren't unique. I see variations of this transformation regularly in my practice. The common thread is that people are suffering not from irreversible decline, but from neglect. Neglect of the brain's basic needs for support, rhythm, and proper care. Common mistakes to avoid. As people start implementing this ritual, I've noticed some common mistakes that can reduce its effectiveness. Let me help you avoid these pitfalls. Mistake number 1, being too rigid or perfectionistic. Some people get so focused on doing the ritual perfectly that they become stressed about it, which defeats the entire purpose. If you miss a step one night or you have to modify something, that's okay. The goal is consistency over time, not perfection every single night. If you travel and don't have access to miso, have chamomile tea and some nuts instead. If you're too tired one night to do all the stretches, just do the breathing. If you forget to write your gratitude list, do it in your mind as you're falling asleep. Flexibility and sustainability are more important than rigid adherence. Mistake number 2, eating too much or too close to bedtime. This ritual involves a small, light nourishment, not a full meal. I've had patients come back and say it wasn't working, and when I ask more questions, I find out they're eating a large bowl of pasta or a sandwich right before bed. That's not what we're doing here. Keep it to about 100 to 150 calories. A small bowl of miso with tofu, or a soft-boiled egg with a few greens, or a small handful of walnuts with some tea. And try to finish eating at least 45 to 60 minutes before you actually lie down. This gives your body time to begin the digestive process. Mistake number 3, keeping the phone nearby. Many people do the ritual beautifully, but then they get into bed and immediately check their phone one more time. This undoes so much of the good work you've just done. The blue light signals daytime to your brain. The content, emails, social media, news, often activates stress or mental stimulation. Put your phone in another room, or at least across the room where you can't easily reach it. If you use your phone as an alarm, buy a simple alarm clock for $10. This one change alone can dramatically improve your sleep quality. Mistake number 4, skipping the ritual on weekends or when traveling. Your brain doesn't know it's Saturday. Your circadian rhythm doesn't care that you're on vacation. In fact, maintaining the ritual when you travel or on weekends is even more important because these are times when our routines tend to get disrupted. I've had patients tell me, it works great during the week, but on weekends I stay up later and skip it, and then Monday morning I feel foggy again. Your brain needs consistency 7 days a week. This is a lifetime practice, not a weekday practice. Mistake number 5, expecting instant results. Some people try this for 2 or 3 nights and say, I don't feel any different. The benefits are cumulative. The first few nights, you're teaching your brain a new rhythm. You're beginning to reduce the accumulated stress and cortisol. You're starting to support better sleep architecture. Most people start noticing clear benefits around the 1 to 2 week mark. Give it a full month before you evaluate whether it's working. And remember, sometimes the benefits are subtle at first. You might not have a dramatic aha moment, but over weeks, you realize you're sleeping better, thinking more clearly, remembering more, and feeling more mentally sharp. Creating a supportive environment. Beyond the ritual itself, creating an environment that supports brain health throughout the evening is important. Let me give you some practical suggestions for optimizing your evening environment. Temperature: keep your bedroom cool, ideally between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 to 19 degrees Celsius. Your core body temperature needs to drop for you to fall asleep and stay asleep. A too warm room interferes with this natural process. Darkness: make your bedroom as dark as possible. Even small amounts of light can interfere with melatonin production. Use blackout curtains if necessary. Cover any LED lights from electronics. If you need a nightlight for safety, use a very dim red or amber light, as these wavelengths don't suppress melatonin the way blue or white light does. Sound: ideally, your bedroom should be quiet. If you live in a noisy environment, consider using a white noise machine or a fan to create consistent, soothing background sound that masks disruptive noises. Sudden, unpredictable sounds, traffic, neighbors, etc., are what disrupt sleep, not consistent background sound. Comfort: invest in a comfortable mattress, pillows, and bedding. You spend a third of your life in bed. If you're over 60 and your mattress is more than 8 to 10 years old, it's probably time to replace it. Your body needs proper support for your spine and pressure points. Associations: use your bedroom only for sleep and intimacy, not for watching television, working, or other activities. You want your brain to associate the bedroom with sleep, so that when you enter that space, your brain starts the process of winding down. The bigger picture: this ritual as part of holistic brain health. While this evening ritual is powerful, I want to be clear that it's most effective as part of a holistic approach to brain health. Let me briefly mention the other pillars that support cognitive vitality after 60. Daytime nutrition. What you eat during the day matters enormously. Focus on whole foods, vegetables, fruits, quality proteins, healthy fats, whole grains. The Mediterranean diet and the Mind diet, Mediterranean-intervention for neurodegenerative delay, have both been shown in research to support cognitive health and reduce the risk of dementia. Physical activity. Regular exercise, especially aerobic activity that gets your heart rate up, is one of the most powerful things you can do for your brain. It increases blood flow, promotes the growth of new brain cells, and reduces inflammation. Aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate activity per week. Social connection. Loneliness and isolation are risk factors for cognitive decline. Maintain meaningful social connections. Have regular conversations with friends and family. Join groups or clubs. Volunteer. Engage with your community. Your brain needs social stimulation to stay healthy. Mental stimulation. Keep learning. Challenge your brain with new activities. Learn a language. Take up a musical instrument. Do puzzles. Read challenging books. Engage in meaningful hobbies. The brain thrives on novelty and challenge. Stress management. Chronic stress is toxic to the brain, particularly to the hippocampus. In addition to the evening ritual, find ways to manage stress during the day. Meditation, time in nature, hobbies you enjoy, therapy if needed, medical management. Work with your healthcare providers to manage any chronic conditions, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol that can affect brain health. Take medications as prescribed. Get regular checkups. The evening ritual I've described is the foundation that makes all of these other practices more effective. When you sleep well, you have the energy and motivation to exercise. You think more clearly, so you can engage in meaningful conversations and mental challenges. You're less irritable and anxious, so your relationships improve. Everything builds on the foundation of good sleep and proper brain restoration. A final word: this is not just about aging, it's about living fully. As we come to the end of our time together today, I want to leave you with a perspective that I think is important. This isn't just about preventing decline or avoiding dementia, though those are certainly valuable goals. This is about living fully, vibrantly, and presently in every decade of your life. When your mind is clear, when your memory is sharp, when you wake up feeling restored, you're able to engage with life in a richer way. You can be fully present with your grandchildren. You can pursue new interests and passions. You can contribute your wisdom and experience to your community. You can enjoy the simple pleasures, a good book, a beautiful sunset, a meaningful conversation, with full awareness and appreciation. Too many older adults are living in a fog, accepting mental fatigue and forgetfulness as inevitable, resigning themselves to a diminished version of life. But it doesn't have to be that way. Your brain at 70 or 80 or 90 is still capable of remarkable things: learning, growing, creating, remembering, experiencing joy and wonder, if you give it the support it needs. This evening ritual is that support. It's a way of saying to your brain, to your body, to yourself, you matter. Your mind matters. Your experiences and memories matter. And I'm going to take care of you. It's a practice of self-respect and self-love, frankly. In a culture that often devalues older adults, that suggests your best years are behind you, this ritual is a radical act of saying, no, I'm going to thrive. I'm going to stay sharp. I'm going to remain fully myself for as long as I'm alive. And when you commit to this practice, when you show up for yourself every evening with this gentle ritual, you're not just supporting your brain health. You're sending yourself a powerful message about your worth, your future, your continued growth and vitality. Conclusion: an invitation to begin. So here we are at the end. I've given you a lot of information today about how the brain works at night, about the dangers of starving it, about the specific rituals and practices that support its restoration, about the science behind why this works, about real transformations I've witnessed in my practice. But information alone doesn't change anything. Knowledge without action is just interesting trivia. So now comes the most important part: your decision to begin. Tonight, before you go to bed, I want you to do something different. I want you to try this ritual, just once. See how it feels. Notice how you sleep. Pay attention to how you feel tomorrow morning. And then, if you notice even a slight improvement, if you sleep a little better, if you wake up a little clearer, if you feel even marginally more rested, I want you to commit to doing it again the next night, and the night after that, and the night after that. Remember what I said earlier? Commit to 2 weeks, 14 consecutive nights. That's all I'm asking. Give this gift to yourself for 2 weeks and then evaluate. At that point, I think you'll find that the ritual has become something you look forward to, something you don't want to skip, because you'll feel the difference it makes. And remember, you don't have to do this perfectly. Start with the simple version I outlined: 5 minutes of gentle movement, a small warm snack, 5 minutes of breathing, and 3 things you're grateful for. That's it. That's your starting point. As this becomes natural, you can add other elements if you want: the reading, the essential oils, the foot bath, whatever resonates with you. But don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Simple and consistent beats elaborate and occasional every single time. I also want to remind you, if you're currently taking any medications, including sleep medications, continue taking them as prescribed while you begin this ritual. Never change or stop medications without consulting your doctor. Over time, you can discuss with your physician whether adjustments might be appropriate. But that's a conversation for later, once the ritual is established. And finally, I want to leave you with this thought, the same thought I shared from the original conversation that inspired this discussion. Memory does not fade with age. It fades with neglect. Before sleep, remember your mind. Feed it, calm it, honor it, and it will remember you. Your brain is not your enemy. It's not failing you. It's not betraying you. It's asking for help, asking for support, asking for the basic conditions it needs to do its job. And when you provide those conditions through this simple evening ritual, it will reward you with clarity, sharpness, and presence that you may have thought were lost forever. So tonight, as you prepare for bed, remember, you have a choice. You can continue the patterns that have been starving your brain, or you can begin a new ritual that feeds it, calms it, and allows it to restore itself properly. I hope you'll choose restoration. I hope you'll choose vitality. I hope you'll choose to give your brain the gift of this evening ritual. Thank you for being here with me today. Thank you for taking your brain health seriously. Thank you for being willing to try something new, to invest in yourself, to believe that improvement is possible at any age. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to Dr. Carter's Senior Health Guide. I create content like this regularly to help you thrive in your senior years, combining ancient wisdom with modern science to give you practical tools for better health and vitality. And if you try this ritual, I'd love to hear about your experience. Leave a comment below and tell me how it's working for you. Share your questions, your challenges, your successes. We're all in this together, learning and growing and supporting each other in the journey of aging well. Until next time, take care of that beautiful brain of yours. Feed it well, rest it well, and it will serve you well. This is Dr. Minjun Carter, reminding you that aging is inevitable, but decline is optional. Good night, and sleep well.